And good Monday morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. We begin it together. 69 now. And I mentioned we're moving into the last week of September. Believe it or not, this coming weekend will be October the 1st. Christmas, less than 100 days away now? This year has some kind of flown. 69 right now, but as we said today, cooler. 85 for the high, and that's welcomed. I'm sure we all would like a little cooler weather. We would prefer 70, but no complaints against 85 as we begin today. Good morning. How are y'all doing? A calmer weekend in some respects. We did have a stabbing on Friday. They went to the hospital, and I will go over a few things that happened over the weekend, but no major crimes that we're aware of. There's several things that went on. The breaking news of this morning that we're watching is what is going on with the weather. Now, a hurricane is headed toward the Gulf. It will reach a Category 4. If you're watching from Florida, and you do have friends in Florida, tell them don't wait till the last minute. This could be some serious flooding that is coming. Let's go ahead and pull up Meridian Honda radar and look at this. Now, parts of Alabama are going to feel this. Also, Georgia, to where it was going to go off to the east, further east, and not even affect anything west of there. But that's changing. It has shifted a little east, but this area here, and this is going to be Saturday, already inland at Georgia. This is going to be 40-mile-an-hour winds right here, mid-Georgia. If you'll look at this as we zoom in on this, this is right above Douglas. As you'll look at this, right there. Here's Eastman, Georgia. And if you'll look at that little town there, that's, let's see here, McRae, Georgia is where that is. And as you see, this goes back west over here, just west of Montgomery, and between Montgomery and Selma. All of this in this cone will feel the effects of it, and could a little bit on the outside of this, on each one of these, feel a little bit further out. Major hurricane, as you'll see here, this is going to be a Category 4 Wednesday at 1 p.m. in the afternoon, which will reach 132 miles an hour. Then this will begin to stall before it slams into the coast, somewhere around Gainesville. This is going to move. The winds, when it comes across at land, most likely will be at 92 miles an hour. Category 1, 115 mile an hour gust. This is going to be historic, breaking records of screaming from a 4 to a 1. I've even heard talk of this possibly even going higher than a 4. We're not sure, but if we'll look at this, and this is what I say, if you've got family that live here in the Tampa area, Sarasota, all along here, we've already got, as we pull this up this morning, Hurricane Watch issued. Now, down through here, Fort Myers area, and these tropical storm watches. But all of this area through here expected to be flooded. We've known anything about hurricanes. They bring a lot of water inland, and this will most likely cover most of Florida. And again, this panhandle area is going to get some of this. Even Dothan is going to feel the effects of this. Be leery of this. This is that was not the exact word. Be ready for this is what I was trying to say, because this is a serious hurricane and should be treated that way. Now, the Mississippi side is not going to be affected by this. I've been asked several times, will we get rain from this? And it will stay east of us unless something dramatic changes and it takes a turn west. But each time it's been going back a little bit further east, again, affecting Georgia, the Carolinas, and portions of Alabama now, as it is set to make landfall somewhere near Gainesville. Today is Monday. This is not going to happen until late Thursday, Friday right after midnight. So we got 5 days out. It's going to move. And we've seen these things within 8 hours before it makes inland, making a little change. So there's a lot of changes that are going to happen with this. So don't hold it to the book. If you're anywhere in this area, watch it. We'll stay on top of it and tell you this as it becomes. We'll bring it back up in the weather forecast here in just a little bit. Gina says her best friend's in the path of that between Gainesville and Jacksonville, and that is in that path. Take it serious. Don't act like this is nothing, because it is. Very serious storm there, and we could have more. Again, this is going to go on until November. We hope that this is the only one, but most likely it's not. Things have calmed down to where we had like 5 different systems out there. We're down to about 3 now. We'll look at all that in the forecast right now. Good morning from Meehan. How are y'all doing there, James Swanner? Hope everything is good in that area. Also, Penelope, how are you today? Good morning. Erica is up. watching from Union. Glad to see you there. Roy Ellis is up. Miss Evelyn Macbeth, how are you today? Hope you're feeling well. Kipper County. Gina Paget is up watching today. All right, as we begin a few of our stories that went on over the weekend, this is, I've never seen anything quite like this close to us. Now, we got some pictures from Philadelphia, but Kosciuszko, have you seen this? This has been viewed over and over and over. Let's pull this up so you can take a look at this. This is Kosciuszko. We're going to hit play on this. This is actually, look at this. This is a cloud as it's moving in. Does that not like, that's almost like the end of the world coming there. Or it seems it to be. Wow. But Kosciuszko is where that was taken. And another view, this was Philadelphia here, of where this storm was. It didn't have the same effect that the one in Kosciuszko did, but here's a look at it. Just a few miles to the west of there, it looked totally different. That was all taken yesterday morning as we were looking at all these different storms. Wow, oh, wow, oh, wow. But you can find that if you want to view that you'll come here to our page here. Just scroll down till you find that right there. There it is right there. You can take a look at it. Something to see, is it not? And this may have happened in Mississippi before, but that's one of the first times I've ever seen it. Very, very odd. Whew. Looked like the end of time coming to take us away, doesn't it? That was the first thought when I saw that when it was sent to me. We did have an issue yesterday morning, as right at daylight, I started finding out about this right around 5:45 yesterday morning, that Highway 19. Now, again, let me remind you, this was yesterday, Sunday morning. As we woke up, our first picture that came in was this picture right here of an 18-wheeler overturned on Highway 19. And boy, did it block traffic for quite some time as we spoke to the Sheriff's Department there, and Mississippi Highway Patrol showed up. This is the scene of what we saw. This was a chip truck that overturned. Now, we haven't gotten an official word as to what caused the wreck for the driver to overturn, but this was near County Road 270. This would be just north of House after the 4-lane ends and before you get to Philadelphia. The entire road was blocked. You had to find different ways around that. Blocked till after a little bit after lunch, and that finally got cleaned up. Fortunately, and as you look at those pictures, you think, as you pull this back up here, you think, how could anybody make it through that? Well, they did. Ended up being just minor injuries. Thankful for that as we come across that. Here's a different look at that is after the wreckers got there. They flipped the truck back over. Walked away from that. That's wonderful anytime that you can do that. Now, we did have a quiet weekend when it came to the last weekend of September of gunfire in the area. Very little reported. We did have some on Friday night reported in the State Boulevard area, in that area there, around 3400 block. I hadn't had anything major since then reported. Good. We'll take that, won't we? No one hurt. It's always a blessing when we can get on here and say that. Tickled over that. Now, this would come in on Saturday night. I happened to walk or drive up on this on Saturday night. North Hill Street, 29th Avenue. Did you see these pictures? This was a wreck that happened. And as we pull this up, as the wrecker were on the scene there, this is a car. It was a hit and run. And when I say hit and run, somebody was involved in the accident. After they hit that car, knocked down the sign, they just kept right on going. Major front-end damage. A pickup truck didn't slow down, just kept right on going. What makes people do that? Most likely they had some other warrant or crime or something in the vehicle that they had that was worth the risk of running. Bad. As we mentioned, on Friday, and again, this ended up much better when you see the headline of this. First, it was reported that it was possibly someone shot. Then we found out it was actually a stabbing in the Meridian area. As we pull this up to take a look. Right here, this was off 8th Street, on 7th Street in this area there. Someone was stabbed in the chest. They were rushed to the hospital. It ended up being non-life-threatening, thank heavens. How you get stabbed in the chest and it not be non-life-threatening, you're blessed, is all I can tell you. A paper cut bothers me. I'd hate to think if I got actually hurt with a knife by somebody. But thank heavens that didn't turn out any worse. After that, we haven't heard any more. After put in the hospital, we just know what happened before and on their way, that they were in stable condition when they arrived. That's the last report that we had on that. As we start looking around at things that's going on in the state of Mississippi, this was a deadly weekend. Horrible it is to report this. I know of 5 deaths that happened on Mississippi highways this weekend. One wreck would claim 4 lives as we talk about this story. This happened in Issaquena County. 2 adults and 2 teenagers. Now, what you're thinking, no, it was 2 adults that were driving that hit head-on, and each car had a teenager in it as a passenger. All 4 would die in that head-on collision. We pass along condolences as we look at this. Thomas Williams, 39, of Jackson. The passenger, Thomas Williams, we would assume a son, 17, passed away in that wreck. Also, in another car was Camilla Smith. She was 43, of Cleveland, Mississippi. And the passenger was a Kristen Lucas. She was 16 years old. Horrible when we pass along condolences on that as they do this. And it wouldn't stop there. We had another wreck near Hazelhurst on Mississippi Highway. Highway 28 is where that happened. A single vehicle where a car ran off the road. The driver was ejected. Korea Shannon passed away at the scene. So bad that these things happen, but a deadly incident there on Mississippi highways. As we MBI is asking for help in the Forest County area. A person was found on the side of the road deceased as they look for clues of what may have happened. Now, they didn't tell us in the description from MBI if they were hit. It just says that they were found on the side of Interstate 59, I-59. The individual is somewhere between 15 and 25 years old, wearing red and white striped pants, Air Jordan tennis shoes. A black male, 5'9", possibly. They didn't give us any more than that. Do hope that they discover who this young man is. Adams County, which would be Natchez, Mississippi, as we look around at things that went on, we had a man that was fatally shot in his home. Not much more has come out of it. We can only assume that someone was either breaking in or something to that degree in his home. Passed away there. Do you remember when we talked about this in Yazoo, where the city police department said that if a teenager is stopped and they have a gun on them, that no matter what, it would be confiscated and would not be able to get it back? All that sounds great, but that really kind of bends the law, and a judge agrees you can't do that. If the owner of the gun comes forward and wants his gun back, they'll have to give it back. You can't just take what you want. I think it was more they were trying to deter teenagers from taking guns, in which they can take them away, but if they're not reported, if they're stolen or whatnot, the owner should rightfully get their gun back. Whether that, and the way it words is if a parent didn't know that they had it. That's one of those things there. Something needs to be done. This gets deeper and deeper, and did I mention deeper, as we get into the biggest scandal that Mississippi has ever seen. And there's so much that we don't know about this as we look at the welfare scandal is what I'm referring to. Phil Bryant and a group of others involved in this. The former governor, of course, he's got his own attorney now. This is escalating daily. He now makes a move, according to Mississippi Today, to block giving more text messages. He wants to keep those private. Of course he does. Doesn't want that. And he's denying that he helped channel welfare funds to Brett Favre's volleyball stadium, saying he had nothing to do with it, when I think we've already seen texts that may say otherwise. I'm not sure he's going to be able to block those. I think those texts are coming out. What's Brett Favre's? We don't know. We'll have to wait and see where this goes in court and what happens with this. Brett was after funds. It was up to the governor to do that legally. They even get further into the text, and they said that after the volleyball was built, which cost $5 million, and it was used from funds that it shouldn't have been, that he asked for help building a football stadium. That did not happen. They did release a text that the governor sent back on that said that had to make sure that that money was tightly controlled and didn't want to break any laws. Of course, that makes Phil look good. The other does not. To be determined. The News are in jail over it. They're working. They haven't been sentenced. We've got 5 people, as we talked about this on Friday, that have been found guilty in some shape, form, or way. None of them have been sentenced yet. It's an ongoing investigation, and it will grow bigger and bigger as this comes about. Most are backing away and trying to tell the truth at this point. We go to Vicksburg, Warren County, that area there. Inmates started a fire at the jail. They set a mattress on fire. Second time that happened in May also, if y'all remember that when we talked about it. What's going over there, where they get the matches, we don't know. More is coming of this. Y'all remember the plane ride in Tupelo, Mississippi, where the man threatened to fly into a Walmart? Y'all remember that? Now, he could face 25 years, and this is what we've got. He's been indicted by a grand jury, which is good. He has not been sentenced for this, but he faces up to 25 years in jail for that part, $500,000 fine. But he is still going to face more charges as we get deeper into this of destruction of an aircraft and the threat of harming others with the aircraft. He's not been charged with that yet. How many years will he actually get? We'll find out. Tomorrow, make sure to tune into this because we'll have a lot of questions. We have the DA, Cassie Coleman, coming in tomorrow to be a guest on our 8 o'clock show. I hope you'll join us for that as Cassie comes in. Be a lot of questions you can ask her, and it's just how things change after a sentence is given. I'm curious just to ask. Some of the things that she'll know, some possibly she won't, but she'll be here. And if you've got a question for her, you always wanted to know something from your local DA and never been able to bump into them, tomorrow will be the chance in the comments to ask those questions. I hope you'll join us. Well, a bunch of things to ask tomorrow there. New Orleans, anybody watching that is planning to go to Mardi Gras? Anybody out there still do that? Think about this now. There's nothing, and I'm not against anyone going somewhere and having fun. I don't want anyone to take me wrong. But be sure before you travel of what you're getting into. We mentioned this last week as St. Louis now has lost their title. It is now given to New Orleans, the murder capital of the world. That's what New Orleans has. And for those coming to those events, I just urge you to be on your best behavior as we look at this. The police department, this is not the city's fault. After a nationwide defund the police are hard to find. We know that in our area. As people they have turned down that said, no, you're not cop material. We really don't want you. You really can't work for us. They've stepped back and said, well, if we've told you in the past that we didn't want to hire you, oh, shucks, come on back and reapply. It's gotten that bad to where they're lowering their standards of who they're hiring. They're having to resort to getting civilians to help investigate. I kid you not. It's a bad situation in New Orleans. Again, I'm not running down New Orleans. I'm just merely pointing out the risk in that city of what you're getting into when you go there. It's always had crime, but boy, it's at an all-time high in New Orleans. Be careful what you do and always pay attention to your surroundings. There's a lot goes on. As we all know, when you get into Mardi Gras and things like that, there's no other way to word this other than there's a lot of drinking. And criminals take advantage of people when they, what's the word I'm looking for? We all know this, of when they're not at their best behavior or in their greatest mental state. We don't want anything to happen to you there. We also talked about this. A man ran over. This happened in North Dakota. A 40-something-year-old man ran over an 18-year-old last week. He claimed that the two had been in an argument, and he ran over him to protect himself. Police have investigated this, and they said they find absolutely zero to back up his statement that the two had ever even talked. They're looking at this as more of a political hit, that they didn't. He looked at it. It was some type of rally going on. He ran over the guy. And it didn't happen in the middle of a rally or anything. It was a street. He ran over him, killed him. Of course, he's been whining to the judge since then that he's got a job, he's got a wife, and, well, he needs to go home. That's not happening. It's just bad. Well, anybody would want to do that for no reason. More will come out of this as it heads to court. And we see what really went on. Hopefully we will. Sometimes you never really find out the whole truth, even after it goes to court. We know that. But 18-year-old, whole life ahead of them, lost, gone. All because someone didn't like them for possibly their political beliefs. That's a shame. You know, used to as a kid, and I think most of us agree that, honest to goodness, as a kid, I remember Democrats, Republican, arguing about this, that, and the other, but at the end of the day, after an election, for the most part, everybody got along. You could argue with somebody outside on the church steps about what you thought, but you went into church and all was well. There was no hard feelings. It was just basically a discussion. Things have changed in the United States, haven't they? I don't understand that. I think we all need to step back. I mean, every person in the United States and reevaluate all of this. Our country is at stake. I truly believe that. Canada, as we've watched Fiona, she has made her way in. Of course, at this point, it is not a hurricane anymore, but floodwaters swept a 73-year-old lady away. She's perished. It's decimated houses as it came ashore. Awful, awful, awful. And that's why we truly say be careful with what's coming up Florida, up the coast there. Alabama's going to see some wind from this. James Gully, how are you? Says he was born and raised in Mississippi, now lives in Detroit. Appreciate you watching there, my friend. Mississippi is a great place. It truly is. Sometimes we get a bad rep in the national press, but it truly is a great place to raise your family and kind of quiet down here for the most part. Hopefully we'll all get a grip on our crime, as we all know that. John Mitchell says, let's see here. I lived in New Orleans most of my life before moving to Meridian. Had season tickets to Saints for 26 years. I sold them. I love the old New Orleans, but I wouldn't spend one dime in that city now. It is destroyed. It is totally different than it used to be. Different town. Be careful all across America, but New Orleans, the murder capital of the world now, or at least in the United States. Let me rephrase that. More murders have happened there this year than anywhere else. We are, if you're counting, Meridian, Mississippi at 11 is where we are. We're keeping track with that. Next year, I'll do a better track of mapping all this stuff out to make sure to show you where crime is in our area each day, where it happens on a map. I'm going to get better at that. Got it all in my head. Next year, we'll have the map starting in January. We'll watch that. Jennifer, how are you doing? Watching from Union, Mississippi. All right, we've got your forecast next. We're going to get into all the weather of what's happening in our area for today. Y'all don't rush off. We're going to do that next. As the days get hotter, Sanders Gas reminds you to get your air conditioner tuned up. Sanders Gas can repair or replace your whole unit, whichever you need. Talk to Sanders about a tankless water heater now and never run out of hot water. Find out how easy and affordable it is to cook on gas stoves. And those backyard barbecues are coming. Don't run out of gas. Get yours refilled today. Sanders Gas, since 1946, 611 26th Avenue South, 601-693-4054.
On this field, as on the gridiron, each inch is fought for and marked by sweat. Each inch taken through disciplined training. With a Kubota L2501 tackling each inch in the trenches, whether those inches are measured here or here, all adding up to yards. For each yard, Kubota measures victory, and the touchdown is Parrish Tractor. Here, we're much more than a tractor store.
The Precast Group, offering you the best selection when it comes to a storm shelter. Located on 145 South in Meridian, where they offer above-ground shelters that can be installed in your home as you're built-in, are conveniently located right outside your home if it's already built. They also offer storm shelters that can be installed in a slight bank or on flat ground. Protect your family today with a very affordable storm shelter from the Precast Group. Highway 145 South, 601-482-0003. The Precast Group.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Our record highs, record lows, it was 2016 that we were at 99 degrees. It's been a couple of days back in 16 that we broke a record. Back in '01, believe it or not, 21 years ago, it was a cool 41 as you woke up on this day. Now, our outlook for today, 84 to 85 is what we're expecting. Sunshine throughout the area. Maybe 82 there in Columbus as we go down to Hattiesburg, warmer with a high of 87. As we cut across over to Bama land, we'll see about 84 to 85 also there, right in the Livingston, Alabama area. Demopolis, 85. Over to Montgomery, about 86 today. Not bad at all. As we turn to this, we want to remind you that the fire danger is out. We hadn't had rain in a while. We had a sprinkle a little bit yesterday, but not enough to stop anything from a fire. No, the Meridian area today, limited area there, use caution. As you move back over here to the Greenville area, bigger chance there. Burning is discouraged. Now let's look at tomorrow. It includes all of us here. Burning is discouraged. I highly suggest don't burn right now. Wait a little while. Fire departments and emergency management watching all this. What's happening with our temperatures as we pull this up for the next 6 to 10 days? We're at normal right now. A little bit warmer weather out there as we head toward October. Let's go ahead and look at our 7-day forecast. And this is what we show for today. It's sunshine. Nothing wrong with that. 84 is what we'll see there to 85, depending upon where you are. If you're in Philadelphia, if you're south of us in Quitman, we're going to be about the same temperature there. 0% chance of rain today. Tomorrow's high, even cooler, 79. Now, as you go tomorrow morning when we wake up, look at that low, 51 tonight. When you wake up in the morning, it will be perfect. Now, those of you who are a little bit on the chilly side, you might want a little jacket tomorrow morning and then take it off by lunch. As we head toward the rest of the week, we're seeing perfect weather into the 70s all week long. And this is that little warming trend as we looked at this and we saw that coming across. We get up to 83 by Sunday. Slight chances of rain over the weekend, but that's just not much at all, though. Not hardly at all. As we look ahead all the way through the 10th, our biggest chance will fall there on Saturday, the 8th, with a 24% chance of rain. But as it warms back up, not getting above 85 any of those days, is it? Not bad weather at all as we head toward October. Before long, Halloween will be here. All right, as we pull up the big map, let's look at what the National Hurricane Center tells us today. As we look at this is still a tropical storm Gaston out here at 40 miles an hour. There's a 50% chance that this storm right here will develop into something, and we are at a Cat 1 right here on Ian. Now, as we do this, let's go ahead and pull radar up where you can take a look and see what Ian is actually doing out there. And we pull this up. Here we are, Meridian Honda radar. We're at a 1. It will get to Category 2 by late this afternoon. It will scream into a Category 3 by Tuesday, and by late afternoon Tuesday, a Category 4. Now, as you'll see here, this is all this area, Fort Myers, Tampa, that could see flooding, major flooding. Now, it starts decreasing late Wednesday into Thursday down to a 3, and before making landfall will be a 1. This will be historic of changing things in the way this works. But a 1 hitting somewhere around Cedar Key. And again, don't put a lot of faith into it will be here, because we still have 5 days. But as you'll see here, these are the area. Now, this is up here in Georgia, as I mentioned, still 40-mile-an-hour winds on Saturday. Right then, this will take in even Atlanta, Gadsden on the outskirts of Birmingham, gets in Montgomery. We'll watch this. Y'all pay attention. Serious storm involved with this. Now, as we move ahead and take a look at what else we've got stirring today, our fishing forecast brought to you by our friends over at Chet's Paint and Body. Your first major time happened early in the morning hours. You got a second time this afternoon after lunch, 1:30 to about 3:30 if you want to go fishing. The wind's going to be northwest, 5 to 10, gust of about 20 miles an hour. So be ready for that. It's going to be one of those hair days where it blows it a little bit. Be prepared for it. It'll be all right. We're coming back in an hour and 1 minute from now. Shannon Shepard, how are you this morning? Got to see you Saturday night. It was so good to see you again, you and your sister. Hadn't bumped into y'all in a while. Jeremiah Johnson, good morning. Becky Vickers is up. Terry Ray. So many of you, thank you there. Now, we're coming back an hour and 1 minute from now. We'll be live. Y'all join us for the big show as we kick it off for you live here and also on Fox 30 television. A quick rundown of what's going on across the state. We'll see you soon as we get ready for our day. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners: